It is not only being silent. It is holding silence, like a warm coat they will want to step into. It is not only listening. It's showing listening, like a beacon. Here, come here to safety. It is not only hearing. It's room in the water for the stone dropped, falls through, makes ripples, stays itself. It's not only knowing. I am looking at you from far away, far, far away, and your story reaches me. Hello. That was a poem about listening, about the act of listening, probably called listening, and has been written as part of this month's Write a Poem a Day project, typically pronounced NaPoWriMo, or as I prefer, NaPoWriMo. And this is a project, a thing that's been happening for quite a few years. Worldwide, I think. Somebody chose month of April, 30 days, National Poetry Writing Month, or NaPoWriMo, in which a poem is written every day of that. And I've been taking part in this annually for a while now, and I'm currently midway through 2021's. And I thought it might be nice to share some of those rough and ready poems that have come out of this month's, and also a few from previous years. So hello, thank you for joining me. It's a poetry show, NaPoWriMo. Sometimes these poems are written to prompts. That first one was written to a prompt, which was an instruction, telling someone how you feel, something that you're good at, how you feel it should be done. And so I wrote that one, listening. Not always done to prompts, but these ones are. So I've opened up a bunch of poems onto my laptop, and I'm looking through, wondering which ones to do. And I think what I'm going to do for these next two are a pair that are kind of intimate, in that they dig into childhood memories, sometimes of quite an explicit nature. So just to warn you about that. This first one, the prompt was to look into how you came to have knowledge that had previously been hidden or even forbidden from you. And it's a short one. I'll call it Into Knowledge for a moment. There's blood in the toilet bowl. Within and among a clump of white that isn't toilet towel, toilet roll. I'm a boy, made of water, keeping thought as water so as not to know. A thought won't arrive for many years, but the feeling is someone in the house is bleeding. In his pile of writings that I rifled through in his study, a couple of mags. It's safe to look at them because he's never in outside of hours. I'm very accepting. I take to them like water. There's things I've never seen, haven't got a thought for, only, oh, so that's what they look like. I don't know why I was looking in the cupboard by their bed, but the open box of Johnny's almost bit me red. I flung them back. I knew things now. And on a similar vein, and in many ways it feels like it's mining the same childhood memories. The prompt being a letter to my body. Little snatches of that awakening that happens at some indiscernible point, has ramifications for the rest of your life. A letter to my body. Did you bully me with need? Did I blame you for shame? I remember us dancing, a striptease for one, drawing off illicit panties. The urge to be naked, stopping Mum from coming in, hid under the bed. The rub on the mattress, like a long-drawn itch, till the wetness spit. Did you bully me with need? Did I blame you for shame? Helped by a dream, a kiss in the night, soft dissipation in the dark. Helped by imagination, who should I watch in my mind, taking off what? Helped by the catalogue, looking through the toy pages, fingers bookmarking the bra pages. Did you bully me? Did I bully you? Holding a bag across my thighs, sat next to Jackie on the bus. Holding a bag across my thighs, all alone with the thrumming of a bus. Sitting with a cushion on my lap, watching TV with my dad. Did you bully me with need? Did I blame you for shame? Forgiving myself, catching in my hand a taste of myself. Forgiving myself, staring through the window for the lady with no curtains. Not forgiving myself that I emptied too early pump over Helen's thigh. You or me, need or shame. Growing to a box we could never fit inside, blowing into a balloon we could never dispose of discreetly, knowing not to thrust it on another, but what to do, where to ease the need and the shame. I'm sorry that I bullied you. Sorry that I blamed you for something for which you have no name. To my body. So, I don't know, should I blush at that or not? I don't know. To read to you next. Okay, let's go for this. This has got some connection with that first one of sort of the awakening of sexual desire. This is a bit more grown up, a bit less grown up, I don't know, a bit more adult, I mean quite. But more about the search for companionship, whether that's sexual or not. All right, the prompt was spring cleaning. Recently, occasionally I set myself up a profile on a dating app in the hopes of I don't know what, and it's pretty always a case that within a few days or within a couple of weeks I delete it again, having not done anything about it. So it draws on this a little bit, dating apps. I have swept all the dating apps to the corner of my phone, and now I approach with dustpan and brush to dump them. The nearer I get, the further I am from letting them go. Like an unread book, I'll get around to reading one day. So many books looking for love, and I only need one that'll last, maybe, one to read again and again and again. And my clearing out now seems to be a sifting of doubt, of the time it'll take, of the lights for my eyes, of choosing one I won't like, or who won't like the reading of me. Reading takes time. Love takes time. And when you haven't much left, as much left, to fit in a new chapter, a new poem. Where was I going? This was dust on the floor, not the promise of a library offering more. Dating apps. What to do with them? So that's something that's going to arouse a deep amount of feeling, apprehension, anxiety. It's a thing, isn't it? That intense feeling hits you, and you're wishing it would pass, you're wishing it would fade away, you're wishing you could purge it, but you can't, because it takes a certain amount of time for that hit of emotion to be processed, for you to realise there's more to your life than this intense feeling now. Example recent was my anxiety about finding a house, but it might as well be the intense feeling of losing someone. You might wish you could wish it away, but you can't. This full bath of feeling will not empty any sooner. Can I kill time with sleep? Thick hurt pushes against every inner wall, a swelling that'll only ease with rest. I am tired, but each approach to slumber is interrupted by a fall awake. Each pulse passing so slowly and as like to rouse me as to ease me into dream. Eyes that are too heavy to close, head too rattled to settle down, to drop away. Weight of worry, ring of fever in my ears, such a commotion in my belly. Wait. Light through the curtain. Lighter still, did I sleep? Just a scuzz around the bath now. That one bath. That's kind of how it happened as well. The intense rap that kept me from sleeping. And I did sleep, finding myself that bit relieved. So sleep, people, sleep. Important. Intended to be a prose poem of some sort. I've no real idea what a prose poem is, but this was an attempt at it. The incidence of fairies within the city bounds of Oxford appears to be increasing, apparently originating on the Eyot, spreading as far as the loch at Iffley and the Folly. Oxfordians have been seen clutching handfuls of blossom and dry leaves, attempting to spend them in the post-lockdown rush, while others are taking 9-league boots from the park and ride. The amount of thoughts in your head, the hoard of words on your tongue, the collection of shiny knowledge you polish and ponder. Oh, there is so much other than that, so much other. When we danced for Isis, did you see her smile? When we danced for Thames, did you see him snort? Yes. It seems that under cover of lockdown, fairy has rolled over us all. So, how you doing? No idea how many of you are watching, just to see if there's anything to give me a clue, because my gizmo doesn't necessarily tell me much about who's here and what you think who is watching. Can I tell? Jason, are you there? And Saz, I mean, hello. So yes, hello. Good to see you. So, as you know, if you've watched any of these before, you know that I occasionally introduce a fellow poet's poems by way of having a special guest. And this is a poet I've met only once, but I have a couple of books of hers, and I've read from one of them before. And the link here also is that the NaPoWriMo project that I'm following this year is in a group run by her, so it felt fitting to read a couple of poems by her. Her name is Rose Solari, and this is her book, The Last Girl. And it's a lovely collection. I've read it a couple of times, and it's full of very moving things. A lot of grief of her own loss is addressed within it. She also throws a lot of myth and such into a lot of her poems too. I don't think there's any in these two, but I'd like to read you one that's called The Death of the Old Gods Is Not. And it goes like this. The death of the old gods is not really death. We unhouse them, lifting ourselves up off our knees. From that new place, your mother's cancer, terminal, is just that, not retribution. And the loss of half the garden to midsummer drought is drought, not penance. See how the coral bells rise up despite the weather. Note how the mums, gone leggy, can still flower. Look how wide the world is now. No hell or heaven. Just us creating our own darkness, our own light. The Death of the Old Gods Is Not, by Rose Solari. The second one of hers I'd like to read. Again, is a touching on grief, but also touching on a resolution to grief. Another ending. Here is the place where memory shivers. Here is the hand in the mirror. Here's where the apple of somebody's eye went definitely to seed. Here's where your shadow sharpened itself, the long steel hissing its temper. Now, on the cusp of one thing or another, the soul takes its down-breaking time. Let it break. Let it dissolve into the lake you were promised, shaped like a body, its surface stung with light. Walk into it, beloved, hard-lost boy. You will be, at last, all right. Those two by Rose Solari, The Last Girl, published in this case by Squire Publishing. I'll put details of that into the comments when we finish. Following on from that, perhaps in the same theme, this one is called A Death. What I imagine is a sense of ease, relief of jobs done, everything prepared, comfort on the sofa, cat happy. Back had always nagged like a husband, but tonight it was already gone. Feeling the weight of two sons in the house, needing the shelter, but also feeling the lift of two sons holding the house, doing the legwork, there to call when needed. TV's on. It'll switch itself off if left. Go to sleep. I imagine the cat noticing the cold, or the warmth slipping away, gone when I return after midnight. A death. If we had not known she was coming, or if she had broken her promise, if she had not taken so many, or even just one, if she was not so feared, or to some so appealing, if she was not so unbalanced, or even so fair, if he had not promised beyond her, though he too succumbed, if we knew maybe she would keep us with kinship and care, if we did not feel her following or look around corners, if we trusted despair, if we trusted delight, if she had a voice to comfort us, soft as her hands, if she had a warmth to calm us, if she made no demands, if we had not begun, and so never needed it to end, perhaps we would greet her smiling, call her friend. So, haven't got a title for that one yet. I wonder if it's clear who she is. How many more to read to you? Well, I want to read that one. And I want to read, I think, that one. And I want to read, do I want to read that? Oh, do I just want those? Just those two? Let me just check. Might be. Yeah, I'm thinking just two more. There are a few more being written this month, and there's a stack of things that have been written past, but as it turns out, I've only read things from this month. So there was a prompt to write a prayer, and that day two of them came along, but I'm only going to read one of them, which in the end I called the Poet's Prayer. Whether that's appropriate or not, I don't know. These again are for NaPoWriMo, April 3030. And this is a prayer I found when I woke today, the Poet's Prayer. As for my death, first let me house them, safe for a year and a day, to learn how without me. First let me clothe them in gear that will last, soft shoes for the sunset, bright iron for the dawn. First let me feed them, harvest in my arms, a herd in the back room that knows its way home. First let me teach them to breathe only those trusted, to take the saw in their arm close to only those worth it. And for me, for my death, first let me pen these, safe in their binding, even the unfinished rhyme. Something to leave them, as gold in a barrow, as a spring in the hillside, breeze in the fire of day. That one a prayer. So, just the one more. This has been Poetry Show 30, I can't remember what number it is, 34, I think. Since January I had been doing these virtually every other day. But then house hunting and things and jobs got in the way, and lockdown started easing, so it became a bit less frequent. But I will be doing more and announce it on the page at some point. The video for this will be on the timeline afterwards if you want to watch it back, or go to the beginning. And I'm going to post the set list in amongst the comments and the details of Rose's book, and also a link to the previous one I did. It's strange, isn't it? This kind of in-between time. Are we out of lockdown, or are we still in it? We are still in it, of course we are. There's still dangers out there. So I hope you will stay safe and do what you can to keep others safe as well. So this is the last one I'm going to read, which is heavily embedded in Old Norse mythology, but hopefully you won't need to know any to appreciate it. Has it got a title yet? Well, the goddess it addresses, I'm not sure whether it's Freya or Frigga, or maybe the two combined. But it may well be the goddess Frigg. And this may well be a prayer to be settled in a new house, which we are now. So we'll consider it a prayer answered. One has set a blaze upon the darker hours. So I rise and walk barefoot to the grove. The creatures in the branches, 9 of each kind, pause and look, soft creaks in the wind. Odin might be wondering, what is this thing I gave them, blown in a honey-fueled moment? The other giving senses I have since sacrificed, and Lothar pissing colour on the air. I am drawn by my mind. My skull is held, a kindling thing, antlers sprouted, ready to fall away. I see today I am hooved. This makes my heart twice as fast as I. Calm, say the creatures. Take a breath, we can't. It is not his house you walk to today, but hers. There are slips of thread, blown, fates never furthered, caught on the grass. I step onto the porched building with damp feet. She offers me drink. She offers me sleep. Cats roaming around the house freely. How fiercely she burns. How fiercely she burns across my mind. And how cool on my neck. Introduce me to your house, she says. Remember. Listen. My heron stands sentinel across the way. And now I am floating ash, spent, oxidized, my face curling off like smoke, her breath. Dawn is still a mountain's climb away. The wetlands, though, still leaping at me.